See this?
Yes, sir.
So can you orient yourself to where Florida, like Jacksonville, Florida is?
Yes, sir. It's down there.
Okay, and do you see the area located on this map that represents 8562 Smith James Road?
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you say that's in close proximity to Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can I get the next one? Now, what is this?
That is the property that we had a search warrant to go serve. So that is 8562 Smith James Road.
Can you see the barn on there by chance?
Yes, sir.
Would you come down and just point it out? Which you do. Yes, sir. If you would stand to the side as you point out, I'd like you to point out the barn, please. Okay, and where was the entrance to the property? Okay, you can sit back down, sir. Thank you. Now, you mentioned the Bearcat armored vehicle. How many were there?
We had 3 on scene for this operation.
Okay, and did each Bearcat have a team?
Yes, sir.
Which Bearcat team were you?
I was assigned to Bearcat 4.
Excuse me, what?
Bearcat 4.
Okay. Did you have a specific location that you were directed to go to and look for the defendant, Othal Wallace?
Yes, sir.
And where was that?
So that my team was assigned to clear the barn.
Which you pointed out.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you go to the barn?
Yes, sir.
And with the rest of your team?
Yes, sir.
And what'd y'all do when you got there?
So our plan was to do what's called a surround and call out. So we'll have members that'll establish themselves around the barn. We'll turn on the lights on the Bearcat and have a negotiator start giving announcements.
Now let me stop you a minute. Was it daytime or nighttime? Was it dark or light when you were out there?
It was dark.
Okay. Did you want your presence to be known?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to leave no doubt that it was law enforcement out there at that time?
Correct.
Okay, so how did you do that? Did you have a PA system?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so try to give us an idea of how loud it was.
I mean, it's a PA system that's attached to the Bearcat. So just like a patrol car that has a PA that everyone can hear when an officer is talking to, it's a similar system but attached to an armored vehicle.
And what about lights?
It also has blue lights all around the Bearcat.
So were the lights going?
Yes, sir.
And was the PA running?
Yes, sir.
And what was said over the PA? Do you remember?
So typically, when the negotiator is making announcements, they will give the address of the location where we're at, tell any occupants at the structure that we are there for, that this is a police, come out unarmed, stuff like that.
Okay, and was that done in this case?
Yes, sir.
And was it loud enough for people in that area to hear?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt about that?
No.
Okay. So did you check the barn?
Yes, sir. Like I mentioned, it was dark, so we were under night vision goggles. After a reasonable time, after those announcements were given, the barn was breached, and we systematically cleared the barn.
So you left the barn. You didn't find anything there? Didn't find Wallace? Didn't find anything of evidentiary value?
No, sir.
So what'd you do then?
So as we were exfilling the barn, I was walking back towards the Bearcat, and I was able to see a tree house that was maybe 34 yards away from the Bearcat.
Okay, was it clearly visible from where you were?
Yes, sir.
Was it clearly visible from the barn?
Yes, sir.
Was it within earshot of the PA system?
Yes, sir.
May I proceed, Judge? Okay. So, Officer Salcedo, can you see the tree house from this photograph?
I don't see it from that photograph, sir.
Okay. So, what did you do when you saw the tree house?
So I let my team leader know that there's a tree house behind us. And we went to up to the treehouse, and I went up the steps of the treehouse to go clear it.
Your Honor, permission to approach one more time. I want to show you what's been marked AK for identification purposes. You recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the front of the compound?
Yes, sir.
Doesn't contain the treehouse picture, is that correct?
No, sir.
Thank you. Your Honor, I believe this into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor. No objection will be admitted.
Describe for me about this tree house. Did you have to climb up something to get to it?
Yes, sir. There was steps that led all the way up to the treehouse.
Were those steps sturdy or not so much?
Sturdy.
Okay. Did you go up those steps? And what was your purpose of going up there?
To clear that treehouse.
To see if Wallace was in there?
Yes, sir.
What did you do when you got up top of the steps? Was there an ability to see inside?
So as soon as you go up the steps, there was a large window in front of the treehouse, so you were able to look inside.
Did you?
Yes, sir.
See anything?
So there was bunk beds, and there was a pistol under the mattresses of the bunk bed. I believe it was the top bunk.
Is that all you saw?
Yes, sir.
What'd you do at that point?
So I'm up there by myself with night vision goggles. So I called for another team member to approach the treehouse and come on up there with me. Another team member came up. To the left of that window, there was a door. So with me and him up there, we opened the door and we made contact with a individual who was laying on the ground with his hands out facing the door.
Okay. And what'd you do with that individual?
Gave that individual commands to stand up, turn away from us. We handcuffed him, and then we walked him down the steps of the treehouse.
Now, just to be clear, from that treehouse location, is it your opinion based on the PA system and based on the lighting that the individual in that treehouse would have been aware of your presence before you went up there?
Absolutely. I could see the bearcat from that porch that was in front of the treehouse.
So what'd you do when you took him downstairs?
I handed him off to another one of our team members for them to handle him.
Another Georgia State Patrol officer?
Yes, sir. And we just continued clearing.
Okay, just may I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Other than apprehending the defendant, did you have any other involvement in this case?
No, sir.
Okay, tender the witness, Judge.
Same problem.
Just one quick question about the photo that's up there. Oh, no, it was the picture that was up there. Good afternoon, sir. How are you? The photo that we're looking at, this apprehension took place in June, right?
Yes, sir.
There's probably a lot more leaves and stuff like that. This photo's in the summer picture, don't you think?
Yes, sir. It was summertime.
So it looks different than what you saw here.
It was nighttime. I had night vision goggles. I can't. Yeah.
All right. I'm done, yeah. All right, And Trooper Salcedo, did you have any body-worn camera on when you did this?
No, sir.
Is it standard protocol that you don't because you're with the SWAT team, or?
Yeah, SWAT team, we don't wear body cameras.
Okay. All right, and when you came in, you were tasked with clearing the barn that we saw earlier, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, as you're going in, I believe you testified you did not see the treehouse when you first arrived, isn't that right?
Yeah, we did not see it when we first.
Okay.
Correct.
So you go into the barn, you clear that, you come out, and 30 to 40 yards away, up above you, is a treehouse, right?
Correct.
And it has a large window.
Yes, sir.
And it also has, was it a little porch area?
Yes, sir.
And is that porch area large enough for somebody to come out and stand on?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, wouldn't you admit that from that position up where he was, he had a tactical advantage over you when you didn't know that he was there?
Absolutely.
So if anybody wanted to, as you're coming up, and you saw guns in the treehouse, right?
Yes, sir.
Numerous guns?
I recall specifically seeing that pistol.
Pistol.
Here on my neck stand up.
Okay, so from up above there, if he wanted to, he could have just opened up fire on you, couldn't he?
Absolutely.
All right, and you would have had no idea to begin with where it was coming from because you didn't even know the treehouse was there, did you?
Correct.
All right, so once you see the treehouse, you then make your way there and you go up the steps. Now, and I believe you also said that there's absolutely no mistake in that everyone in the general vicinity knew that law enforcement was there. Isn't that correct? Because you were loud, you had multiple vehicles, lights were flashing, so everyone knew law enforcement was there, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then when you go up, you had somebody else come up to help you clear it.
Yes, sir.
And then when you go in, you see Mr. Wallace just laid out in a surrender position, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Never resisted at all, did he?
No, sir.
Never. I'm sorry.
He was compliant.
Very compliant. All right. And then when you took him down, you just handed him off, and again, very compliant, and then handing him over to another officer.
Yes, sir.
Ever have any problems with Mr. Wallace?
No, sir.
Was he ever disrespectful to you?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. I have nothing else, Sharon.
Any regret?
No, Your Honor.
I think the witness be excused. State,
Yes, sir. Next witness would be,
hold on, defense.
I'm sorry.
oh, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Hey, would you please introduce yourself to us?
Cody Cassidy,
And, go ahead.
CODY, CASSIDY,
And who do you work for?
the City of Daytona Beach as a police detective.
And how long you been with the Daytona Beach Police Department?
Since May of 2009, so just over 14 years.
Any previous law enforcement experience? No, sir. Okay. Talk to us a little bit, educate us about, how you came up the ranks at the Daytona Beach PD.
I started working out night shift patrol. I was there for approximately 2 years. After patrol, I moved to the traffic division where I was assigned as a traffic homicide investigator. I was there for approximately 7 to 8 years. After the traffic unit, I was assigned to special investigations unit, the narcotics division, where I currently am as a special investigations with the U.S. Marshal Service as a task force officer. Also assigned to the robbery homicide unit with the same title as a detective.
So what are you doing now?
I am a task force officer with the U.S. Marshal Service, essentially a detective with Daytona Beach who is cross-sworn with the U.S. Marshals.
Okay. And back in June of 2021, back when Officer Raynor was shot, were you working in that capacity?
Yes, sir, I was.
Did you have some involvement in this case?
I did.
Okay, talk to us about that.
The night of the shooting, I received multiple phone calls advising Officer Raynor was shot. Immediately after hearing that, I responded down to the scene and stood by for orders from the supervisors that were there.
Now, as far as the task force, why don't you take a minute and explain what this task force is for and why you're part of it?
The task force is assigned for going after subjects who have open felony warrants. Generally, we go after high crime, high violence subjects, homicide, robberies, sex crimes, anything with violence towards people. There's a group of us assigned to Central Florida. We travel all over going after these subjects who have active warrants. We're attached with the U.S. Marshal Service. Essentially just once we find a location for these subjects, we act upon it and take them into custody.
Okay, did you become involved in the investigation a couple hours after Officer Raynor was shot?
Yes, sir, within a few hours.
And what did you do? How did you start?
Stood by until a suspect was
Identified?
identified, and then once that happened, I began doing research and attempting to locate where he may be at.
Okay, now, some of the research you do, is that sensitive in investigative information?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, typically information that you don't share with the public, is that right?
That's correct. It is protected information, yes, sir.
And is that so that the folks that you're looking for don't know how you're going to find it?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay. So were you fruitful in your using your investigative techniques to start to locate the defendant?
Yes, sir, we were.
Okay, and tell me the progression as far as where did you focus? Did you find one spot in particular and one only, or was the progression from one place to another? Help us with that.
It can continue to progress throughout the 2 days. Started out, we traveled west towards Gainesville. Once we reached the Gainesville area, began going northbound into the outskirts of Atlanta, which is where we essentially took Mr. Wallace into custody.
Okay, so did you actually travel up to Georgia?
Yes, sir, I did.
Was it Snellville, Georgia?
Yes, sir.
8562 Smith James Road?
That's correct.
How would you describe the location?
It was a very rural area. The properties, the houses that were on these properties were spread out, anywhere from 3 to 5 acre lots. It was not much city life, no major businesses that were in that area. Lots of woods, trees, just spread out, more of a country setting than anything.
Okay. And were there several agencies involved?
Yes, sir, there was.
Was the U.S. Marshals Service involved?
Yes, sir.
So there were U.S. Marshal personnel or agents there? How about the Daytona Beach Police Department? You were there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about the Georgia State Patrol? They had folks?
Yes, sir, they did.
And when you arrived on the property, did you participate in the initial apprehension of the defendant Othal Wallace?
No, sir. We stood by on the perimeter out towards the front of the residence. Georgia State Patrol, their SWAT team, were tasked with searching the property and attempting to locate Othal Wallace.
Okay. Did there come a time when you came into contact, face to face, with the person that they had apprehended?
Yes, sir. They brought a subject who they believed was Othal Wallace down to the front of the property for me to make an ID on.
So you were the one that was going to ID?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Had you a general idea? Did you have some photographs of his appearance prior to going up there?
Yes, sir. I had approximately 2 days to become very familiar with the looks of this gentleman, knew what I was looking for, knew identifying marks that he had on his body that would assist in IDing him.
Okay. So when you saw the person that they had apprehended, did you notice anything different about his appearance?
Yes, sir. The gentleman we were looking for had long, thick dreads. When they brought him down to me, I noticed immediately the dreads had been cut. It actually appeared as if they were cut in a hurry because it was more of a messy haircut.
Okay, but what about, so how you going to identify him?
He had very similar facial features. I knew that Othal Wallace was involved in a motorcycle crash years ago. I knew he had a very distinct mark that was on his abdomen up to his chest. And I pulled up his shirt and identified him as well by that scar.
Okay, so that's how you identify him.
Yes, sir.
Do you notice whether or not that same individual is here in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir, I do.
Could you please describe where he's at and what he's wearing?
He's sitting at the table in front there. He's the youngest gentleman up there, I believe, with a light blue stripe tie.
When you came into contact with the defendant, did he say anything to you?
Objection, Your Honor. Can you get a sidebar? Go ahead and ask the question.
What did he say to you?
You already know who I am. You know what I'm capable of. I saved the officers here in Georgia. Things could have been a lot worse.
To what was that statement from?
What was your question you asked?
I simply asked him, would you like to speak to detectives in regards to the case?
Your Honor, I do have a case I can share with you. Let me get.
Obviously, he was handcuffed.
He was.
We're not disputing that he was in custody, Your Honor. Our position is it was not custodial interrogation. This case is an 11th Circuit Court of Appeals case, Your Honor. It was the closest case I could find on point. This was a case where an individual was accused of murder, and a detective by the name of McKeechin with the Bay County Sheriff's Office had questioned him. And the issue became when he asked the guy where he asked the suspect while he was in custody, where were you on the night of the murder? And the defendant or the suspect said, I didn't mean to kill that man. The 11th Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that that question was not custodial interrogation. And it's under head note 2 and 3. He was not read Miranda, Judge. And in fact, he had even said something about an attorney. Yes, sir. My apologies. Yes, sir.
You know, in this case, he was read Miranda prior to speaking to him. Here, he was never read Miranda. He asked him a question, and I believe that he should have read him Miranda before he asked him anything. He's obviously in custody. If he had, said yes, obviously there would have been an interrogation. So for trying to put the cart before the horse, it should have been read Miranda. Would have had the opportunity to talk or not talk. Therefore, I think it's.
Your Honor, Miranda is immaterial in this. It's whether or not there was custodial interrogation. The state agrees he was in custody. It was a voluntary, spontaneous statement that had nothing to do with the question that was asked. Therefore, it was not interrogation. It was a voluntary and spontaneous statement. He didn't respond to the question. He said, hey, you know who I am. You know what I'm capable of. That is voluntary and spontaneous.
Question though, that's a comment right from my side, when you read Miranda. Would you like to speak to investigators when he hasn't been told what his rights are? That's concerning.
It may be concerning, Judge. With all due respect, I don't think it makes the statement the product of custodial interrogation. The only thing I need, Judge, is I think on the record, I need the court to acknowledge that he had identified the defendant.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. May I have just a moment, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I do have a few more questions. Yes, sir, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. I want to talk to you for a minute about duty belts and tasers. Are you familiar with the Daytona Beach Police Department duty belts?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, so just kind of how they're set up. Typically, where would an officer put the gun? Where would the holster for the gun be?
Your firearm is on your dominant or strong side. Whatever side you generally write with is the side that is your strong side.
So if you're right-handed, be on your right side, left-handed, left side?
Yes.
Okay. What about the taser holster? Is it on the same side or opposite?
No, so generally the taser's on the opposite side. It's worn in what's called a cross-drawn, which is essentially the call it the butt of the taser is facing forward as opposed to your firearm is facing backwards. You generally reach across with your strong hand to the taser in order to grab it. That way, your strong hand is always in control of the weapon in hand.
Okay. No further questions.
Okay, thank you. Any calls?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Any
Excuse me. Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir.
Would you please tell us who you are?
My name is Brett Antoine,
Would you spell your last name, please?
Antwine.
And where do you work, sir?
Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives.
How long you been with ATF?
Since 2009.
Did you work in law enforcement prior to that time?
Yes, sir. Approximately 6 years in state law enforcement.
Whereabouts?
Sir,
Where, 6 years?
6 years in the state of Georgia.
State.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us a little bit. Educate us about what you do and your duties and responsibilities at ATF.
I'm an investigator for the ATF. I investigate crimes against U.S. code that would be in the purview of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Violent crimes with firearms. And we do explosives and alcohol and tobacco investigations as well.
Okay. And where's your field office located?
Atlanta.
Okay. I want to draw to your attention to June of 2021.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Did you become involved in an operation involving the apprehension of an individual by the name of Othal Wallace?
Yes, sir.
And how did you become involved?
I was contacted by the U.S. Marshals Task Force and asked to come to the scene where they had taken Mr. Wallace into custody and review where he was taken at, see if there was any evidence that could be taken into custody or what needed to be done if there was evidence to take it into custody.
Was this on or about June 26, 2021?
Yes, sir, it was.
When you arrived at the property, was it day or night? Day or night?
It was nighttime, early in the morning.
Early in the morning? So it was dark?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay. So you got to the compound, then what'd you do?
Upon my arrival, I met with some of the U.S. Marshals Task Force guys, and they took me back to where Mr. Wallace was apprehended.
Okay, did you notice a tree house?
I did, yes, sir. That's where they took me.
Okay, and so you got taken to the tree house, then what?
I walked up the stairs and with a task force guy and looked through the door inside to get an idea of what we were looking at.
Did you see any weapons or firearms?
I observed what I believe to be firearms within the structure.
Okay, so then what'd you do, sir?
I advised the local task force guys that we need to back out and get a search warrant to go ahead and search the structure and see if we could find anything of evidence and see if the firearms, what appeared to be firearms, were actually firearms.
Was a search warrant obtained?
It was obtained.
And who was the person who was going to execute that search warrant?
I wound up executing it.
Okay, and on the same day, June 26, 2021?
Yes, sir.
And where was the location that you searched?
The tree house itself is what it searched.
Talk to us about executing the search warrant. When you went back into the structure, once the search warrant was obtained, what did you do?
I took a video of the outside as best I could, being in the dark, and it's a tall set of stairs that were really rickety and shaky. So at the top of the stairs, I stood there and did my best to get a video of the surrounding. Again, I was using a flashlight to try to take the video.
What were the stairs like?
They were shaky at best. It was kind of nervous walking up those stairs.
Permission to approach the witness, Your Honor.
May?
I want to show you what's been marked states I for identification first. Would you take a look at that, please?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize it?
Yes, sir.
Did you sign it?
I did.
Sign it today?
Yes, sir.
And did you review the contents of it?
Yes, sir.
There an accurate representation of what's contained herein?
Yes, sir.
And is what's contained in herein some video of the treehouse?
It is.
Your Honor, permission, well, first we move into evidence.
Your Honor, I would just renew the objection to there from the motion limit that you've already ruled on previously.
I've already ruled that ruling stands. Item will be admitted as evidence. I'm assuming is redacted or not redacted?
It is not that.
Okay. Everybody complies with my ruling.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Admitted as evidence.
Wait a second.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Don't put it over there. It'll disappear.
Yeah, sorry, Judge.
Yeah. You may proceed.
Okay, we're gonna roll it and then just kind of have you take a look at it. Could you stop? Stop it and back it up. There you go. Right. Just want you, could you come down for just a moment, please?
May.
And if you'd stand over to the side so the jury can see, just want you to point out, you'd indicated that you'd seen some weapons or firearms. Could you point out weapons or firearms that you saw when you testified earlier?
Yes, sir. There was this item here was a firearm, was a rifle, and then the pictures down here is the end of the handle of a pistol.
Okay, was the pistol a Glock 17?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and was the rifle an AK type rifle?
Yes, sir.
Did it have a banana clip?
Yes, sir. This right here would be the
Okie dokie.
Make sure you keep your voice up so they can hear.
I apologize. Yes, the rifle would have a banana style magazine for it, so curved magazine, that would be it there. That would be the pistol grip, and then this is the, what should be, it's actually turned out to be an arm brace, not a shoulder stock, but it's the brace is what it is. And then this would be the lower part of the lower on the pistol.
Okay, you can go back up to the stand.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Just play it. Okay. Permission to approach again, Your Honor.
May?
I'd like to show you what's in Mark's face, JJ, for identification purposes.
Yes, sir.
Detective Dean,
Yes, sir.
you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Fair and accurate representation?
Yes, sir.
What is that still shot at?
The bunk beds with the firearms on or under the mattress. Yes, sir.
At this time, Your Honor, I'd ask that we just still shot in there.
Any objection?
Just state based on the prior.
Okay. Court's prior ruling stands. It'll be admitted as evidence.
Your Honor, permission to publish to the jury?
How are you going to do? Oh, yes, you may proceed.
If you step back down again, please, so with the court's permission.
Yes.
No, it's a little blurry, Agent Antoine, or Special Agent Antoine. But could you just point out to the jury what you previously testified to regarding the weapons that you were testifying about?
Yes, sir. The rifle is under the mattress partially. Again, here's the banana style magazine that hold ammunition and be inserted underneath the rifle. The pistol grip for the rifle, and then what would be considered either a stock or actually is a forearm brace. And then this would be the pistol.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You can take that off. Now, I want to talk to you about what you found and what you took custody of,
Yes, sir.
okay? Did you take custody of a Glock 17 9mm pistol?
I did.
Do you recall, did you record a serial number as you took it?
I did.
And what was that serial number?
N is in November, S is in Sierra, M is in Motel, 913.
So NSM 913.
Correct.
Was the Glock loaded?
Yes, sir.
Okay, had a clip in it?
Did have a magazine in it, yes, sir.
Okay, did you clear that magazine or did you leave it like it was?
Left it like it was.
Okay. At some point in time, did you determine how many rounds?
I was determined there was 16 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber.
Now, what does that mean? 16 in the clip and 1 in the chamber. What does that mean?
The magazine would be the part of the firearm that holds the ammunition in a semi-automatic firearm. So once the ammunition is loaded into the magazine, then the magazine would be inserted into the firearm. And then in order to load the weapon to make it ready to fire, you would have to charge the weapon, or I think the common term would be to rack a weapon. So you would rack the slide. That motion would push around off the top of the magazine into the chamber. And then at that point, there's 1 less round in the magazine while there's 1 round in the chamber, and makes the weapon ready to fire.
Okay, so you don't have to rack it and then pull the trigger. You just pull the trigger.
Once you've charged it once, then it's ready to go, as long as it doesn't malfunction.
Okay. Did you also find a black DeSantis holster?
Yes, sir.
Now, what did you do with those items? The Glock 17, the mag, the ammunition, and the holster. Ultimately, what did you do with those?
Ultimately, we took it into custody, into ATF custody, and then after that, we would have transferred it down to Daytona Beach.
Okay. Okay, and I'll get into a little bit more about your process there in a minute. Let's finish up with, did you find ammunition
Yes, sir.
up there? Several containers of ammunition?
Yes, sir.
And approximately, or a minimum of how many rounds?
We determined it to be more in excess of 500 rounds.
Did you take the AK type long gun did you seize that as well?
We did, yes, sir.
Okay, now did you also provide that to Daytona Beach PD?
Did not.
That's still at ATF custody?
Correct, it is, yes, sir.
Okay. Were there any rounds for the AK?
Yes, sir, there was rounds in the magazine.
Okay. And you said it was a banana clip?
Yes, sir.
How many, typically, that particular clip, do you know how many rounds it's capable of holding?
I believe that was a 30-round magazine.
Okay. Permission to approach the witness, Your Honor, with an exhibit.
Sure. I think it's behind you.
Would- Okay. Before that, Your Honor, apparently I stated the wrong, I guess, exhibit number. What did I say it was, Jason?
You had said it was, I think, GG, but it's BBB.
BBB instead of GG, Your Honor. My apologies.
Okay.
And it's Exhibit 25 is introduced into evidence.
But it's already in evidence?
Yes, sir.
You kept it straight? Okay, thank you. All right.
When you took possession of the firearm,
Yes, sir.
what this exhibit, what you just said, was it your custody and control from the time you and your partner's custody and control from the time you took it until you took it to the ATF secure location?
Yes, sir, it was.
And then what did you do with it?
We logged it into evidence and then turned it over to the vault custodians who locked it into the ATF vault.
Do you have access to that vault?
No, so we've got custodians that control the access, and we turn our evidence over to those custodians, and those custodians actually physically put it into the vault, and whatever location they choose, it goes in.
Did you take it back out at some point in time?
We did,
And for what purpose?
to take it to Daytona Beach Police Department.
And did you do that?
Yes, sir, we did.
You turned it over to the folks at the Daytona Beach Police Department?
Yes, sir, we did.
Okay. And from the time you took it out of the evidence locker until the time you turned it over to Daytona Beach PD, was it within you and your partner's custody?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask to move the exhibit into evidence.
Any objection? Without objection, admitted as evidence.
Your Honor, may I publish it?
May proceed.
Permission to approach again, Your Honor.
You may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked states exhibit K for identification purpose. Would you take a look at it?
Yes, sir.
And how do you reckon?
Pictures from the treehouse.
The day that you executed the search warrant?
Yes, sir.
Were these pictures before or after the search warrant was executed?
I believe they were before.
Just a moment, Your Honor. Under the witness.
All right, cross-examination.
Oh, here, forget something. Your Honor, I'm sorry, there's one other exhibit I failed to show.
Okay.
Great. gonna approach one more time and show you what's been marked as state exhibit AAA for identification purposes. Composite exhibit 3 photographs, which state with it. You recognize them?
Yes, sir.
And how do you recognize them?
Those are photographs of the AK variant that was recovered from the treehouse.
Up in Belleville?
Yes, sir.
When you executed the search warrant?
Yes, sir.
And are these still in this is in the custody of ATF?
Correct, it is. It's still in our vault.
Is that where the pictures were taken?
They are, or they were, I'm sorry.
Fair and accurate representations?
Yes, sir.
Move into evidence, Your Honor.
Any objection?
Your Honor, based on the stipulation, you would not object. Would you like to?
We have a stipulation as well, Your Honor.
Okay.
Hold on. Hold on.
Motion.
Is this, I'm sorry, can I see it?
That photograph, sir.
Photograph of 7.62 by 39 millimeter ammunition. It's AK ammunition.
Ammunition that would fit into the firearm, the AK that you seized?
Yes, sir.
Could we go to the next picture? Have a witness.
Sir, that.
Are these the ones that you took out of the
Yes, that is the
tree?
ammunition I took from that firearm.
And what's that a picture of?
That's a picture of the firearm.
Okay. That you seized from the treehouse?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. Same
Yes, sir.
rifle or long gun?
Yes, sir.
What's that on top of?
That's the magazine that would have held the ammunition. We take them out to make the firearm safe before we store them, and then we will zip tie the magazine to the firearm itself and separate the ammunition from it.
And that's the banana clip you testified would hold 30 rounds?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tender the witness, Your Honor.
All right, any cross-examination?
Yes. No.
Proceed.
Good afternoon, Special Agent. Now, when you first went up, you looked at the treehouse just to see what you had, and then after that, you decided to go back and get a search warrant based on the items that you saw, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right now, when you were up on the treehouse, I'm sure you were looking around. You had a good view of everything that was down below. You know, like where the barn was and where you probably drove in from.
No, outside the scope.
So, I'm sorry.
At the time I initially got there, noticed it was dark.
Okay, when you did the search warrant, was it light out?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when you went up the second time and you videotaped it, or did you videotape it at night
I videoed it when it was dark. Yes.
when it was dark? And then when you got the search warrant, you went up during the day, and then you were able to see your surroundings, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you're standing on that little porch area before you enter and you look around, you can see the barn down there. You can probably see the main house, all that sort of stuff.
The main house would have been to my back looking into the treehouse. I don't recall a barn. I do recall a Connex container to my left
Okay.
and some woods to my right and to the, what would have been on the back side of the treehouse.
Well, when you're on the porch area, would you agree that you're significantly higher than the ground level?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that kind of gives you a vantage point when you're standing up there over anybody that might be around you? Or it could?
I'm not sure what you're asking me as to
Well,
what it could. I can tell you what I saw.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you're up there, and then when you searched, you found an assortment of ammunition, right?
Yes, sir.
How many total rounds?
I didn't do a total round count because there were so many and it was that early in the morning.
Okay. And you found the style rifle,
Yes, sir.
and that had that banana magazine in it?
Yes, sir.
And there were 30 rounds in it, but would it hold more than 30 rounds?
I don't recall. They do make banana style magazines that do hold more rounds, but I don't recall what the actual number, because most of these things you actually have to fill them to find out if they're going to hold one more than what it says or one less than what it says. So I didn't test that. No, sir.
And that AK style rifle, that's a semi-automatic, is it?
Yes, sir.
Do a lot of damage with that, can you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you found the Glock 17,
Yes, sir.
and that was fully loaded?
It wasn't fully loaded.
Okay. Were there other 9mm shells in the treehouse?
I don't recall at this time what all calibers were there and what were not.
Okay. All right. But I guess my point is Mr. Wallace being in that treehouse was somewhat heavily armored, wasn't he not?
There was ammunition and there were multiple firearms. Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't have anything else, Sharon.
Anything else? May the witness be excused from the subpoena?
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, when the parties agree that certain facts are true, that is called a stipulation of fact. You must accept stipulated fact as having been proven. However, the significance of these facts, as with all facts, is for you to decide. In this case, the stipulated facts that you must accept as true is as follows. Othal Wallace had, on previous occasions, possessed the assault-style weapon with a banana clip that was found in the treehouse in Snellville, Georgia. Othal Wallace was familiar with using the firearm. Thank you. State, you may call your next witness.
Stewart, recall Dale Denner.
You are still under oath.
Good afternoon, sir. I think the last thing we talked about in your earlier testimony was,
Have him repeat his name.
yes, can you please repeat your name?
Dale Detter.
Detective Jetter, I think the last thing we talked about earlier today was about going back to the crime scene on the 24th.
Yes, sir.
What was your next involvement in this case?
On June 30th,
What did you do on, what was the first thing you did on June 30th?
June 30th, when I got into work, there had been a firearm. It was relayed to us from ATF out of Atlanta. It was my duty to take that firearm and tag it into evidence.
And then what did you do with it from there? Did you actually take it somewhere that day?
Yes, sir. Once it was tagged in, I immediately checked it back out and transported it to FDLE in Orlando.
What was the second thing you did on the 30th?
We had obtained a search warrant to search the suspect vehicle over in Alachua County.
Was this the defendant's vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Where was that search conducted, sir?
At the Alachua County Sheriff's Office in their crime scene garage.
And so was your search warrant from an Alachua County or circuit judge over there?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Can I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Approaching the state's level A. Deposit exhibit.
one more,
Yes, sir.
one more time.
Okay. Do you remember the number? Do you think the tag fell off of it?
It did. States AA. They moved the state's AA identification. That's now states.
That's evidence?
State 31, yes, Your Honor.
Was it admitted without objection?
We would move it into evidence.
Okay, any objection? No objection. Okay, admitted as evidence.
I apologize, Your Honor.
Okay,
Permission to publish?
may proceed.
May the witness step down in case I need to point some things
Yes,
out?
sir, just put them back over here.
Now, when you search a vehicle, detective, do you kind of process it like a crime scene, a physical crime scene? Do you photograph it first?
Yes, sir.
Before actually conducting the search?
Correct.
What are we looking at here in photograph A?
This will be the vehicle in the crime scene garage, looking at the front passenger side of the vehicle.
As you already said, this is not Daytona's crime scene garage, correct?
Correct. Last one.
I think we're just gonna kind of take photographs all the way around the vehicle. Photograph B.
The vehicle from the front, and of course the driver's side of the vehicle.
Going to photograph C. What are we looking at here?
Driver's side of the vehicle.
So again, you're just wrapping around the vehicle.
Yes, sir. And then that will be the rear of the vehicle.
With the tag, the California tag on the rear.
Correct.
Photograph E.
This will be the front driver's compartment. This will be in the driver's door pocket.
The driver's door pocket of the vehicle on the driver's side.
Correct. So, center console, items in the center console.
And what is there? Is this a Red Bull energy drink?
Yes, sir. Always uses an ashtray.
Swisher, is it Swisher, the Swisher sweets?
Looks like, and then I think that's a nice hard lemonade.
Next photograph.
This would be the rear driver's compartment.
Next photograph, sir.
This is the same rear driver's compartment, large knife or machete on the forward.
What are we looking at in this photograph, sir?
This would be the rear hatchback area of the vehicle. Some items in the hatchback.
What do these items appear to be associated with?
This appeared to, I believe, was a tent. There was a tarp, a cooler. I think this is a water jug and a camping chair.
Is this another, or what are we looking at here?
This
Sorry.
This is actually a steel, what we call strike plate, and then some ballistic panels.
And then behind it, is that the tent you were talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You can return to the witness stand. When you processed that Honda vehicle, did you look for any blood on the exterior of the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
How did you go about doing that?
We used a chemical called luminol. Blue Star is the name of it. And it's 2 tablets mixed with water. And when sprayed, it reacts with the iron and blood, and it will glow or luminesce.
And do you use that as a tool to lead you in the direction of areas that you should swab?
Correct.
And did you use that on this vehicle?
We did.
Did you locate any areas that it luminesced that you ended up swabbing?
There were 3 areas that we located.
And how do you go about collecting those swabs?
When we use a swab, it's basically a large Q-tip, one end with a cotton swab on it. Since we were using a chemical spray, it would have already been wet. The area that was luminesced, we took the swab and swabbed that area that luminesced, and then placed it into a paper, or I guess cardboard, little small box for the swabs, and then placed in a packaging envelope.
And were these swabs later put into evidence at Daytona Beach Police Department?
Yes, sir.
And to your knowledge, were they sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
Yes, sir.
And I may approach the witness with the exhibit.
You may.
So states B. You recognize the exterior of that packaging?
Yes, sir.
What does that packaging contain?
This is a swab of possible blood. It was from on the rear of the vehicle where it's got this, the HRV. On the H was an area that luminesced that was swabbed.
And is the exterior of the packaging the same or similar condition when you packaged it, other than FDA tape?
Yes, sir.
During this time, this item evidence is the next one we exhibit.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, admitted as evidence.
I'll go ahead and I'll make a mark for you. CC, what does CC contain?
This is another swab of an area that luminesced. It was on the rear of the hatchback where the HRV is. Just underneath that is the area that I swabbed.
If I get the car back up, will you be able to point the general areas where you swapped?
Yes, sir.
I will do that. Is the exterior of the packaging other than the FDA tape in the same or similar condition as when you packaged it?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, move this item into evidence is the next one to speak to this.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, admitted as evidence.
Next states DD, what does that item contain?
This is a swab of possible blood that luminesced on the driver's side rear tire on the sidewall.
Is the exterior packaging in the same or similar condition?
Yes, sir.
Altered cover width,
Does-
we can see other than the FDA tape.
Doesn't appear so.
Your Honor, move states DD and evidence is the next number exhibit.
No objection.
Without objection, admitted as evidence.
May the witness step down one last time.
May.
If you could point out, Detective, is this a good photograph to use?
For 2 of the swabs, yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, and if you could point out where you collected 2 of those swabs.
On the H right here, kind of more towards the left side of the H is where one of them was swabbed, and then underneath the HRV in this area right here.
Let me see if I can get to this better photo for the last swab. You can point out to where you collected the last swab.
On the upper sidewall, this tire, kind of in this general area right here is an area that lumens.
And again, that's using the chemical you guys often use.
Correct.
Thank you, Detective. Detective, did you also collect a live round from the vehicle as well?
Yes, sir.
And where was that in the vehicle?
The front passenger seat on the rear pocket in the seat, at the bottom of the pocket.
And was it a rifle round?
Yes, sir.
May.
So that's a state
would be the live round that was found in the pocket of the front passenger seat.
I don't believe the defense gonna have objections coming in, that's why we would have it.
No, Your Honor, no objection.
Is that objection admitted as evidence?
Okay, just for the jury, what's the line around the?
An unfired round, it's basically a bullet, once you purchase them from the store, they come as a live round until it's fired in a lead protect house.
Did you also collect some targets from the vehicle?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean, targets?
They're, when you go out for target practice, if you will, some people purchase paper targets that they can place wherever they're shooting at and use them for target practice.
Have these targets been used yet, or were they unused, or both?
Unused.
Unused? May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
May.
As it states, EE for identification. States EE for identification. Do you recognize the exterior packages?
Yes, sir.
What does that item contain?
A pack of the paper shooting targets.
Has the packaging been served in any way since you packaged it?
No, sir.
Or at this time, it just states EE and the evidence is the next one.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Without objection, admitted as evidence.
And Detective, sometime later, I believe in March of 2023, did you collect a bloodstain card?
Yes, sir.
Where did you collect that card from?
From the medical examiner's office.
In Volusia County?
Yes, sir.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Sergeant states EE for identification. Do you recognize the exterior packaging?
Yes, sir.
Is there FDA tape on that one as well?
There is.
Is the exterior packaging other than the FDA tape appear to be alternate?
No, sir.
Does it believe the defense does not have an objection to this online?
No objection.
Admitted as evidence.
Who states just EE for identification?
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'll tender the witness, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Any cross?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down. Is the witness still under subpoena?
No, Your Honor, you can be excused.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you're released from the subpoena. State, call your next witness.
State would recall Dave Denardi.
Thank you. Okay, the witness has been sworn previously. You're still under oath.
Yes, sir.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Could you please state your name again, Detective?
David Denardi.
Thank you, sir. We left off in late June of 2021. On June 30th of 2021, did you also participate in the search of Othal Wallace's vehicle in Alachua County?
Yes, sir.
And were you a part of drafting the search warrant for that vehicle?
Yes.
After the search of that vehicle, did you draft several search warrants on July 2nd of 2021, on or about July 2nd of 2021?
Yes, I did.
Did this include a search warrant related to a phone number you believe to be Othal Wallace's?
Yes.
And who did you get that phone number from?
A phone number came from Taisha Lewis.
And what was that number, sir?
Phone number was 954-928-6399.
Why do you do a search warrant to a phone company for phone records? What are you hoping to get?
Hoping to get several things, to include who the person is in communication with via phone calls, as well as who they're communicating with via text message. And then also, in addition, you can get location data from someone's cell phone records.
So the location data is actually embedded in the records from the cell phone company?
Yes, sir.
To your knowledge, can you use that data then to map the approximate location of that cellular device?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, pursuant to the previously filed business record certification, I would move states MM into evidence as the next numbered exhibit.
Any objection? Okay, admitted as evidence.
Number 38, Madam Clerk. And of course, did you receive those records from the phone company?
Yes, I did.
And did you review some of those phone records?
Yes, I did.
And in regard to the number that you listed earlier, who was the subscriber for those phone records?
Othal Wallace.
Did you also do a search warrant for both an Instagram account and a Facebook account related to the defendant, Othal Wallace?
Yes, I did.
Was that for the same account we discussed earlier, RBG Vibes for Instagram?
Yes.
And did you receive a response to your search warrant from both those companies? Well, I guess it's the same company, but from both those social media accounts?
Yes.
Are those large files that you get back from Facebook and Instagram?
Yes, they are.
Fair to say thousands of pages?
Yes.
Going to July 15th. Did you go to Halifax Hospital on July 15th, sir?
Yes, I did.
Was Jason Raynor still being treated at that hospital?
Yes, he was.
When you were at that hospital, did any doctors provide you anything?
Yes.
Which doctor?
Dr. Prince.
What did Dr. Prince give you, sir?
Dr. Prince gave me a fragment of a projectile that was removed from Officer Raynor's head.
And what type of container was it in?
It was in like a plastic vial.
And where did you take that item?
I took it back to the police department where I submitted it to property and evidence.
I approach the witness, Your Honor.
Yes.
State's ID QQ. Do you recognize the container on that board as well as the item in the plastic bag?
Yes.
And what is it?
This is the fragment of the projectile that Dr. Prince removed from Officer Raynor, and then the bottom is the container that was turned over to me.
Are both in the same or substantially similar condition as when Dr. Prince turned it over to you?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, in this case, QQ, the evidence is the next number exhibit.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, admitted into evidence.
Operation in front of the sit-down public judge.
How are you gonna do that? Just stand in front?
Just hold it for your eye.
Unless you wanna pass it down.
I want to jump ahead now to July 19th. Did you and other investigators execute a court order, sir?
Yes.
What was that court order for?
That court order was to obtain a sample of genetic and biological material from Othal Wallace.
And did you execute that court order on Othal Wallace?
Yes, sir.
Did you collect the buccal swabs from him?
Yes.
How do you go about collecting buccal swabs?
Buckle swabs come in sterile packaging. It also comes with a little box. Standard procedure, what I did or would have done that day when we put gloves on, and then they look like giant Q-tips. Have Othal Wallace open up his mouth and then swab both sides of his cheek with each of the swabs, and then put them in the box, clearly mark it with his name on it, and then same thing, package it up and submit it to property evidence.
Do you collect these swabs in order to send them to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
Yes.
Is it something you've done many times in your career?
Yes, sir.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
It states N and Nancy. So as you recognize the exterior package.
Yes.
What does that item contain?
This contains the buccal swab that was obtained from Othal Wallace on July 2021.
And other than tape from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, has been altered in any way?
No, it has not.
There are receipts and evidence is the next number of states exhibit.
Any objection? Without objection, admitted.
Detective, on August 17th of 2021, did you get some notification from Halifax Hospital?
Yes.
What was that notification?
That Officer Raynor had passed away from the gunshot wound that he sustained at the hands of Othal Wallace.
And as the lead detective, was an autopsy performed at the Office of the Medical Examiner?
Yes, it was.
Did they relay to you, I'm not going to go into them, but did they relay to you their findings from the autopsy?
Yes, they did.
As a result of that, what did you do?
As a result of that, I completed another charge and affidavit charging Othal Wallace with murder instead of attempted murder.
Thank you, sir. May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I'll tender the witness, Your Honor.
Any cross? Okay. Thank you. May the witness be excused. State.
Subject to recall, Your Honor.
Okay, you're still under subpoena. You may step down.
Thank you, sir.
Are we done for the day?
Yes, Your Honor. That's all the witnesses we have.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to adjourn early today. We're going to return tomorrow. I have spoken to the lawyers and everything appears to be on track. The indication you sometime this week for deliberations and reports. So I'll release you until tomorrow at 9 a.m. Make sure you speak loud and clear into the microphone so everyone can hear what I'm saying. We're listening to
Good afternoon, ma'am. Afternoon. If I can have yourself, can you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name, please?
Priscilla Pringle, Pringle.
Ms. Pringle, where do you work?
Daytona Beach Police Department.
What do you do at the Daytona Beach Police Department?
I am a crime analyst.
Can you describe to the jury what a crime analyst does?
We investigate real-time and or past crimes or incidents that happen in Daytona Beach.
Could you give us an example of maybe something that you would do on a daily basis?
After information is done on the scene, it's sent to our criminal investigation unit, and I help investigate or help with the cases.
What about in reference to the license plate readers in the city? Do you also have a role with those, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Can you describe what that role is?
So I log into that system daily, which is a running system daily throughout our county. And those hits come out, whatever comes through NCIC, FCIC, missing persons.
Now, I understand what you're talking about, but if we can slow it down and explain that to the jury. Say if a hit comes down, first off, can you tell us what NCIC and FCIC?
So it's our national unit that, like, stolen vehicles, or if someone goes missing or you're reporting a crime, that vehicle will go in that system, meaning the tag will go in that system. And if it passes through one of our LPR systems, it will alert us.
And I think we've heard before, an LPR is a license plate reader?
Yes, correct.
So is it a computerized system if a license plate reader reads a license plate that's already been entered into the NCIC system and alerts you?
Yes. Yes, sir.
You don't have to go through every license plate that goes through Daytona Beach and try and look for it.
No, sir.
If I could bring your attention now to, it would have been June 23rd, 2021. Were you working that minivan?
Yes, sir.
Did there come a time where there was a license plate reader hit at Site 1 that you actually ultimately sent an email about?
Yes, sir.
Can you approach the witness, Judge? I'm going to approach and show you what's been marked as states.
Yes.
That's states G. You recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Is this the email you sent out that day?
Yes.
Is it a fair and accurate reproduction or printout of that?
Yes, sir.
Anything seem to be changed or altered?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, Judge, the state would move in stage 2.
No objection. Without objection, will be admitted as evidence.
May I publish the jury, Judge?
You may do so.
So, what we're looking at right here, if I can, the top line here, ma'am, is that from you?
Yes, sir. That's
Is that
fine.
your email address?
Yes, sir.
Now, the time you sent it on there, do you recall what time it was you sent it?
12:20.
12:20 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Who, now, if we look at the 2 line, it says 2 police department sworn officers. Do you know who's in that user group, ma'am?
All sworn police department, police officers for Daytona Beach Police Department.
So any patrol officer in there, any detective would also receive that?
Yes, sir.
And basically, the subject then is in reference to, this is the tag, the CXV8444.
Yes, sir.
Now, in looking at this, are you the one who generates where it says stolen vehicle that keeps hitting Site 1?
Yes, sir.
You just type that in there?
Yes.
And is that based on the license plate reader information being funneled to you?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And then the information about what kind of vehicle in the tag, is that you who entered that?
Yes, I typed that.
And also it says here, stolen vehicle, Frenchies were in the vehicle when it was stolen.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what that meant or?
Frenchies are dogs.
Okay, so the information here was a stolen vehicle and there were dogs that were in the vehicle when it was stolen.
Yes, sir.
Now we see this photograph right here. Where does that photograph come from?
Site 1, which is one of our license plate readers.
So that's an actual photograph from the vehicle going through the license plate reader?
Yes, sir.
And then if we look next to it where it says CXV844, is this an actual blow-up of the license plate?
Yes, sir.
As part of your job, though, do you have to verify that the license plate reader gets it correct?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Why is that? Is it wrong?
Yeah, sometimes it's wrong. And so we always verify once it hits. Check it, review it, run it, and then make sure it's accurate.
Okay. And down here, this is your signature line, Priscilla Pringle, Daytona Beach.
Yes, sir.
After you sent this email on the 23rd at 12:20 p.m., did you receive any returned error messages or non-deliverable messages to that user group?
No, sir.
Ma'am, just on the judge?
Yes.
No further questions, Judge.
Any further examination?
Did you want this up too?
No.
Okay.
Site 1, where is that located?
International Speedway.
And does it tell you when the car would have hit Site 1?
Are you referring to?
As far as when you get, this car keeps hitting Site 1, what time did it hit Site 1?
If I sent the email out, I can't tell you the exact time it hit, but it had to be between 2 and 3 minutes.
From the time that you
He
sent
sent
it?
the email out.
And you sent it to all sworn officers within Daytona Beach Police Department?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Lewis asked you if you got any undeliverables or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
Did you get any read receipts from Jason Raynor?
I don't have receipts on my email.
So can you say here today that Jason Raynor ever opened up that email?
I cannot.
So can you say whether he even saw that email?
I cannot.
I have nothing else.
Yes, sir.
Witness be excused, stay.
Excused.
Yes.
Make sure you speak loud.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm doing well.
Good. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Okay. My name is Letitia LaMagna. I'm the city clerk for the city of Daytona Beach.
And now your name is, just spell-wise, can you spell your first and last name?
Sure. First name is Letia. Last name is LaMagna. It's LAMAGNA.
What is your job duties as the city clerk of Daytona Beach?
Among other things, I'm the custodian of records for the city of Daytona Beach. That includes the police and fire department. And so my office also does the public record requests.
So are you responsible for the emails that would go through Daytona Beach Police Department?
And for a record request, yes, I would be responsible.
Were you asked to search through Officer Jason Raynor's emails sometime in June of 2022?
Yes, I was.
What were you asked to look for in those emails, ma'am?
I was asked to look for a Leo exempt email for a plate. It was CXV8444.
How do you go about doing that research through his email?
So we use what's called Microsoft Purview. It's a search mechanism to search through the city's exchange system.
So let me ask this question. All of the emails that are generated, received, or sent out from the Daytona Beach Police Department, are those stored in a cloud somewhere and then you have access to those?
Yes, they're stored in an exchange cloud.
And for Microsoft Purview, can you explain how you would go in there and locate Officer Raynor's emails?
So I can do what's called a content search. So it will ask me simple questions, usually like a keyword search. So I'll name the search, and then it will allow me to pick whether that's everyone in the cities, and that includes the police and fire, everyone's emails, or if I want to look in a specific email account, and I chose to look in his specific email account.
So you can funnel down from the entire emails to just a specific person?
Correct.
Are you able to further, filter through that by date and time?
I can filter through by date, and I can filter through by subject, which is what I did in this case.
When you ran the search for that CXB 8444, what did you? How many emails did you find?
In his, in Jason Raynor's, I found 2.
Okay. And do you remember what the dates of those were?
The one was from, I believe it was June 21st of 2021. That was from Volusia County, Abolo. And I found the second one that was submitted by Ms. Pringle to all sworn department officers was the email address that it went to.
And approach the witness, Judge. I'm going to approach and show you what's marked as state H. take a look at that. Do you recognize that name?
Yes, I do.
Is that one of the emails, the one from the June 21st?
Yes.
You located in Officer Raynor's email?
Yes.
Anything seem to be changed or altered about it except that it's printed out?
No.
Thank you very much. Because this time state movement states H.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, I bid it in session.
Judge, may I publish to the jury? So, Ms. Lamaga, are you able to, you see this email here?
Yes.
Is this the June 23rd, 2021 email you located in Officer Raynor's email?
Yes.
And now I'm showing you what's in evidence, I believe it states 5. Is that correct? Yes, states 5. Is this the other email you located in Officer Raynor's email?
Yes.
And this was dated, it says VC3 bulletins, and it was dated June 21st, 2021 at 8:46.
Yes.
And specifically, when you searched, did it show this section right here in there?
Yes, it hit on the tag, the CXV8444.
Can you read what this, just read it out loud for the record so we have that?
Attempt to locate stolen vehicle, Ormond Beach. On June 21st, 2 unidentified suspects stole the victim's gray 2014 Honda CRV bearing Florida temporary tag CXV8444 from the parking lot of Econo Lodge located at 1614 North US 1. The victim's vehicle was left unlocked and running and also had 8 French bulldogs inside. The suspects are described as a black female and a black male in their 20s. See bulletin stolen vehicle.
Now, when you ultimately went into Officer Raynor's, well, let me back up to this email right here. This email that Ms. Pringle sent out, were you able to go back in Ms. Pringle's email to see if there was any responses from her to other officers or other officers indicating they received this?
I was able to find one officer, at least one officer that responded back to ask what Frenchies were.
So the indication there was that officer received it and then responded.
Responded back within a minute or two.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to show you, well, let's talk about the method of once you go into Microsoft Purview, how do you export the data of the emails so that it's usable or you can read it?
So once the software has completed the search, it allows me to download the emails in what's called a .pst format.
And for the jurors, a PST format, is that something that you can download into your Outlook and open up?
Yes, you have to open it up in Outlook. I can't just click on it and open it from my computer.
What you just described, I'm sure most of the jurors are aware of what Outlook is, but can you just tell us just what Outlook is?
So for the city of Daytona Beach, they use the Microsoft Outlook email service. So each one of us have an email account, and we use Microsoft Outlook to open our emails that come through the account, through the exchange system.
Now, I'm just going to show you, for demonstrative purposes, looking at a email. Is this what an Officer's Raynor email would have looked like when you opened it up in the Outlook?
When I provided it, yes, to the officers.
Correct. And then, so specifically, take 5. Yeah, in their system. I'm just gonna have her do it in court. Should take 15 minutes. Okay, so, and I can certainly have her do it in court if we need to.
Okay, and, so raising a discovery on.
Yes.
What is on the screen right now?
I'm trying to get in a position where I can see you here. Yeah, we've never received a copy of this. It shows this download. It shows an email from Jason Raynor's email account from Priscilla Pringle and Volusia County Crime Center, but we've never received this discovery.
Okay, state.
Judge, this is just what Ms. LaMagna utilized to provide us the documents we sent to everybody. Instead of her having to step me down and take like 20 minutes in court and generate the file and show them where it is on there, we just had it ready to go. If the court wants us to, we can have her walk through the whole process. She can show how she would go through it normally.
So you never produced this item for the defense?
Right, we're not putting this into evidence, we're just showing how she loaded it in there and would look at it.
The other thing, Your Honor, is it looks like in looking at his mailbox, he has only 2 items in his mailbox. So that's all he would have seen is those 2 things.
And this is for Officer Raynor's mail?
Correct, and I can have her explain and you can open up. But you have to load it into your Outlook, so it's loaded in Outlook here on the screen. But what I was going to say is we can have her upload the whole thing. There's, I think, what would you say, 14 emails that day?
As I believe I can upload them into your computer.
Well, I guess I have to conduct a Richardson hearing. Obviously, information was not provided beforehand. What exactly are you trying to show? I'm not sure what exactly you're trying to prove by this.
I'm just showing that when it was received by Officer Raynor, based on when she loads it in the email. That's it. I can ask her and just shut the exhibit down.
This is Jason's, he's using his email as a I think this is material stuff. It's at the very heart of what we're doing here. So, how does that prejudice the defense in any fashion?
Well, Your Honor,
You know that the email was sent.
we knew the email was sent. There's, we knew that he said that it was there, but it looks like when you look at that, it's like, oh, he has 2 emails in the inbox. Even though they're going to try to explain that, no, there's all these other emails, there's 2 emails. And then it's other, also it's not even his box, it's Jason Lewis's box. And I understand you have to download it to Outlook, but it's not downloaded to Ms. LaMagna's box, so it just gives it the identity that he obviously saw.
Objection, you can't.
Okay, I'll just have her explain.
Do whatever she needs to do.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Can you jump along for just 1 second? How long is it going to take you to do what?
Probably about 15 to 20 minutes, yeah.
We had it
If
set
I
up where
can-
she could do it in here if she wanted to, but it took a long time to practice. If they want us to, we can.
I guess, have a seat. What we'll do is go ahead and try to load up whatever it is we're going to load up.
I'm not going to load up anything else, Judge. I'll just have her explain what she did.
Oh, so you're not going to put it up?
I won't even put it up, Judge.
I was going to say, even if she's able to open it up and show it from her computer or whatever computer, we never received it. So it doesn't matter what she's able to pull it from her computer now or his computer and show to us. We've never received it.
Well, she testified to this.
And she did a deposition.
So I'm surprised that you guys are prejudiced by the fact that there's no image of it. But she testified at the last hearing, and I know what she said at the last hearing.
Right.
That she could see that it was in his box. She couldn't tell whether it was open or not. I think that's the ultimate conclusion.
That's the ultimate conclusion.
So I'm surprised that you say you're somewhat prejudiced, but I recognize that. I think it was misleading just to have 2 items, but a box that probably has, say, 14 items. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. So, but I think she's entitled to explain whatever she's going to explain. So if you're not going to put it up,
No, I'll just have her explain it.
then we're ready for the jury. Bring the jury. Receive, Your Honor. Thank you.
May I approach, Judge? I'm going to show you what is in evidence of CS5, which is the email about the license plate reader, the one from June 23rd, 2021. Have you had an opportunity to see what time that might have been received in Officer Raynor's email? Can you tell us what time that was, ma'am?
12:20 p.m.
Have you had an opportunity to look at Officer Raynor's email on the 23rd, the full, all the stuff, even including the stuff that doesn't have anything to do with that you're searching for?
I did do a search where I just searched for the date and not for this specific tag number. Yes.
Did he have multiple emails in his email?
Yes.
Was there, and when I say multiple, are we talking more than 10?
Around 10 or 13.
Did you look at those other emails around the time window of his, when he received this one at 12:20, and to see if he received emails subsequently after?
Yes, I looked to see if he received emails subsequently after.
Speak up again.
I'm sorry. Yes, I did see that he received emails after that.
And those were emails after. Was there also emails before that he received?
Yes.
And you can't tell based on your search still whether or not Officer Raynor opened it. You can just tell us that it was received in his email.
Correct. I can only tell whether it was received. I can't tell if it was read or not.
Just have one moment, Judge.
Yes.
No further questions, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
You just lost it.
Hello.
All you can tell us is that there were 2 emails received by Jason Raynor, one on June 21st and June 23rd.
Correct.
And you went in through this whole elaborate process to pull that out. Okay?
Correct.
Would it be easier just to open up his email and look and see if those emails are there?
I would have to, you would have to log in as Jason Raynor in order to go into his account outside of through the exchange system.
And then once you logged in to Jason Raynor's account, you'd be able to look and say, that was open, that wasn't.
I can't make a comment on that. I don't know.
When you open up an email, it is being opened, right?
Correct.
So you'd assume that most email systems work that way.
I believe so, yes.
Instead of going and looking to see if he actually opened them, it's rather just rely on the fact that all he received is a yes. Right?
No, all I'm testifying to is that he received it. I'm not testifying to anything else.
You have no idea whether it's there or not.
Do not.
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Briefly, Judge. Ma'am, just so we're clear, you can't just go into Officer Raynor's email and enter his password. You actually have to do it the way you do it, right?
Yes, I have to go in through the back end. So like the exchange would be like a cable box, and the Outlook that we all use would be like your TVs. It's actually coming through the exchange.
Right, so when the defense says you can just log into Jason Raynor's email and look at that, you don't have access to it.
No, I do not.
Somebody else must have access to his computer, though, don't they?
That I don't know.
Thank you very much. May it please be excused.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You are released from this meeting. Thank you. Stand by your next witness. Make sure you speak loud and clear into the microphone. So you might lean forward a little bit. I remember you hear what you have to say. You proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Mayor. You gotta talk really loud, though.
Hi, how are you?
Good, ma'am. Can you tell us your name and spell your last name?
Yes, Tyesha Lewis. Last name is Lewis.
And how do you spell your first name too, ma'am?
Tyesha.
Ms. Lewis, do you know Othal Wallace?
Yes,
How do you know Othal Wallace?
he's my kid's father.
How long have you known him for?
About 7 or 8 years now.
Where were you living back on June 23rd, 2021?
On Kingston and Daytona Beach.
Did you know the address?
133 Kingston Avenue,
Was that an apartment there?
apartment number 8.
Who did you live there with?
Me and my kids.
Did Mr. Wallace sometimes stay there?
Yes.
Back then on June 23rd, 2021, were you working, ma'am?
I was.
Where were you working at?
I was a manager at McDonald's.
What was your normal shift?
I was the opening manager, so I would go in around 4 or 5, get off at 2 o'clock p.m.
That specific day, did you go into work?
Yes.
Got off right around 2:30?
Yes.
Was Othal Wallace also working at McDonald's?
Yes.
Do you know what shift he would work?
He was also opener, but he got off a little bit later than me, so I can't remember his exact schedule for that day. But
Sure. When you got off, what did you do that day?
my daughter was in gymnastics at the time, so we went home, showered, got her dressed for gymnastics, and we left to Port Orange.
Did you have contact, did you see Othal Wallace at work that day?
Yes.
Is that the last time you saw him that day?
Yes.
Subsequent or after, when you left for gymnastics with your daughter and stuff, did you have any phone contact with him?
No, the only thing was he said that he was going to go see his daughter to bake some cupcakes or something, and that was the last time we talked.
Tell us what happens after gymnastics.
After gymnastics, we went home. She's sweaty, bathed again. I had a drink, and we went to bed.
There come a time where you got woken up in the middle of the night?
Yes.
Or not in the middle of the night, but in the evening, night hours?
Yes.
Can you describe what happened and what would get you?
I just heard a bunch of commotion. My apartment complex, the walls are very thin, so if someone walks by or if there even a car pulls in, normally I can hear it. So I just heard a bunch of commotion, a bunch of yelling, a bunch of running backwards and forth. I thought it was maybe a fight or something going on in the parking lot. So I went to the window just to see what was going on. Couldn't really see. I went outside, and that's when I realized what was going on.
What did you see going on outside there?
I just heard someone yelling, we need towels, we need towels. He's bleeding, we need towels. So I was like, well, I have a bunch of towels. Like, what's going on? You guys need towels. So I brought out a towel or two, and then I handed the towel to the person. It was a pedestrian, I'm guessing. And then I kind of like looked down, got scared, and ran back in my house.
Did you see any police out there at that time?
I saw a police car.
Okay. Did you stay in your house at that time?
Yes.
Did there come a time where an officer knocked on your door?
Yes.
Do you remember talking to that officer?
I don't remember what was said, no.
Okay. What kind of vehicle did Othal Wallace drive?
I don't remember what it's called. It's an SUV.
Is it a Honda SUV?
I believe so.
May I approach the witness, Judge? Yes.
Ma'am, I'm going to show you what is marked for identification purposes as AA. Can you take a look at these first several photographs? Does that appear to be car that Othal Wallace would be driving at that time?
Yes, the color looks a little bit different, I guess, from the light, but yes.
So the photograph of in this picture is just the lighting is off, but this does look like a vehicle to drive.
Yes.
Do you know whose vehicle it was?
I'm not sure. I don't believe it was his. Probably someone he knows. I'm not sure.
Are you going to be using?
Yes.
So how you muted the one camera?
I think we pulled it.
I just, it's okay. It's okay.
It's right here.
Did it come loose?
Yeah. Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the vehicle that Othal Wallace was driving?
Yes.
And obviously, this is a screenshot from some device. You didn't take this photo, but this is the vehicle you're driving.
Yes.
And can you tell by looking at the photograph, is that Othal Wallace in the photograph? Judge, at this time, the state will give an state.
Okay. Without objection, admitted to evidence.
And now I'm showing you what's in evidence in state 7. This is Othal Wallace's vehicle?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. And the person sitting in the driver's seat, that's Othal Wallace?
Yes.
Does this look like it's in the parking lot where you live in? If you can tell, I don't know if you can.
It's kind of dark, but yes.
May I approach the witness, Judge? I'm going to approach and show you what's marked as state's Q. Are you able to identify these photographs?
Yes.
Is this Othal Wallace?
Yes.
Does this time the state move in state's Q?
Without objection, admitted as evidence.
The voice says out there that Othal Wallace.
Objection, lack of foundation. Leading witness to suggest the contents of the file without its knowing.
Overrule us of the leading. Can you lay a little pressure for that?
I can, Judge. She listened to this recording and she's going to identify the voice on it. We're not going to.
I'll rule it for now. Go ahead and finish the predicate.
Have you listened to this CD, ma'am?
Yes.
How do you know you listened to this CD?
Because I signed it.
Okay, so you're
Make sure
saying,
you keep up the voice up.
I'm sorry, because I signed it.
and you dated it?
Yes.
And the voice on the CD, is that Othal Wallace?
Yes.
That's all good.
You have something more to it?
I'm gonna move it. Oh, you wanna use it? Yeah, yeah.
You lived in apartment 8 with Mr. Wallace, is that correct?
With my kids. He comes over to see his kids.
Did you live there as of a few months? Were you living with him there?
Like I said, I live there with my kids, and he comes over to see his kids.
Have you been, were you ever residing in that apartment complex?